A U.S. Navy veteran, meanwhile, has been arrested for allegedly killing an Indian immigrant engineer and wounding two others at a crowded sports bar. Adam Purinton, accused of killing Srinivas Kuchibhotla and wounding his co-worker at Garmin. Alok Madasani, the accused, was arrested in Missouri after he told a bartender that he had shot two Middle Eastern men and needed a place to hide. A third man, Grillot, was also shot when he tried to stop the gunman at Austin's Bar and Grille in Olathe, Kansas. Well, Kuchibhotla and Madasani were both of Indian descent, working as engineers at GPS maker Garmin International in Olathe. Well, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has condemned the U.S. shootout incident. Taking to Twitter, she wrote, "I am shocked at the shooting incident in Kansas in which Srinivas Kuchibhotla has been killed. My heartfelt condolences to the bereaved family."
Police Department. Here's who we have with us that will be speaking today at the press conference. Chief Steve Minke, District Attorney for Johnson County Steve Howe, FBI Special Agent in Charge Eric Johnson, and United States District Attorney for the District of Kansas Tom Beal. Please keep in mind that this is an ongoing investigation, and with that we have limited information that we are going to be able to provide. At the end of the press conference, we will open it up for a few questions, and I will also...
We are here today regarding the homicide and attempted homicides which occurred last evening at Austin's Bar and Grill, located at 2103 East 151st Street in Olathe, Kansas. Before we start, I would like to first offer my condolences to the families of the victims of yesterday evening's tragic and senseless act of violence. At approximately 7:16 p.m., the Olathe Police Department was notified of shots fired at a local establishment. Officers in the area responded to the scene where 3 gunshot wound victims were identified. All 3 victims were transported by Johnson County Med to KU Medical Center. The victims are Alok Madasani, 32 years old, from Overland Park, Kansas, and Ian P. Grillot, 24 years old, from Grandview, Missouri, who both sustained gunshot wounds requiring medical attention and are currently recovering in stable condition. The third victim, Srinivas Kuchibhotla, 32 years old, from Olathe, succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead at the hospital. Based upon the information developed during the investigation, an individual was identified and taken into custody late last evening in Clinton, Missouri, by the members of the Clinton, Missouri Police Department. The investigation is ongoing, and the Olathe Police Department, working in conjunction with the FBI, will continue to investigate any and all aspects of this horrific crime. At this time, I would like to turn the podium over to Johnson County District Attorney Steve Howe for additional comments. Thank you.
Today we filed charges against an individual by the name of Adam W. Purinton. Those charges are 1 count of premeditated first-degree murder, 1 and 2 counts of attempted premeditated first-degree murder. His bond is currently set at $2 million. He is in Missouri at this point, and as you know, with the extradition process, that could either occur within a couple days or a couple weeks, depending on whether or not he waives extradition. At the last time that we checked, he's in Clinton, Missouri, but we hope to have him back in Johnson County in our facility in a short period of time. If you want a copy of the complaint, we will provide that probably within the next 12 to 24 hours. We'll provide a copy of the exact complaint that he is charged with in these cases. To Chief Menke's comments about us being able to provide limited information, in Kansas, we are precluded from going into a lot of details pursuant to Supreme Court Rule 3.6 and 3.8. And I have an ethical obligation, as well as with both my staff and the law enforcement officers, to preclude a lot of information getting out there pursuant to those rules. So if we don't, or if we hesitate in providing you those details, it's not that we don't want to be transparent, but under the Kansas law, we're precluded from doing that. Thank you.
I would now invite to the podium FBI Special Agent in Charge Eric Jackson to make some comments.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to echo the statements by the Chief and also offer my condolences as well. The FBI is actively working with the Olathe Police Department regarding the shootings which occurred last evening at Austin Bar and Grill in Olathe, Kansas. The FBI is tasked with defending civil rights violations committed in the U.S., and our role in this investigation is to work jointly with local law enforcement to determine if an individual's civil rights were violated. In the course of this investigation, if this violent crime is determined to be bias motivated, we will continue to conduct the investigation jointly. It's not uncommon for hate crime investigations to be conducted jointly by the FBI and local law enforcement and prosecuted under the state law. Thank you.
I would now invite the United States Attorney for the District of Kansas, Tom Beal.
I would echo my colleagues' comments, and I would add that the Office of the U.S. Attorney for the District of Kansas will be working closely with the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice, and will be evaluating the case going forward and working closely with our federal, state, and local partners. Probably more to come later from us. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the floor up to a few questions that may be addressed to any of us. I would just ask that you please understand again that we are limited on what additional information we're going to be able to provide to you and release at this time because it is indeed an ongoing investigation.
Can you speak in any detail about what premeditated or motivated this incident last night?
Yeah, again, I would tell you that with the investigation ongoing and certainly not wanting to jeopardize both the investigation or the prosecution, we're not going to be able to add any more details at this point.
So can you, Chief, say whether it was a hate crime or not?
Again, you know, and I might defer to the district attorney as well, since at this point we are in a charging stage to really cover the rules.
You know, as far as the motivation of this case and the facts surrounding it, you got to remember we're less than 24 hours in. There are investigators currently going out and still interviewing people. And so what we want to do is we want to be able to be sure of our facts versus speculation. And so we're not prepared at this point to talk about the particular facts of the case because this is still very fresh. There's a lot of people working the street. And quite frankly, it would be unethical for me to go into a lot of details based on Kansas law to discuss those details.
But Steve, it's clear that the FBI is here and the U.S. Attorney is here. And so, I mean, could we at least get confirmation that this is being investigated as a hate crime?
What I can say is that the federal law enforcement agencies and the U.S. Attorney's Office is working in connection with local law enforcement to determine what the true facts are. But we're not going to go into what those facts mean, what federal jurisdiction that might unfold as part of this investigation. So I understand you have a job to do, but at the same time, this is so very fresh. We really don't want to talk about things until we're absolutely sure of what we have.
But if, I mean, you guys, you know, tell us about charges and murder cases all of the time, and the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office is not standing at the press conference as well. So is that why you guys are working in conjunction with each other? Because that it could be classified at some point as a hate crime?
If you want to go ahead and speak to...
One of the things when we're working jointly with local law enforcement department, we need to have time to thoroughly go through an investigation. If that investigation leads us toward a federal charging or a federal crime, then we're going to handle that directly with our partners on the state and local level. But at this moment, as we've stated, we're less than 24 hours into this investigation. I have FBI personnel working this investigation from every angle. When we're ready to make that pronunciation of what we think it is, we're going to present it to both our local partners and to the United States Attorney's Office. And at that time, that will be the determination of which direction this investigation goes.
Would the federal charges supersede the county charges?
All right, well, that, of course, was a live press conference coming in there from the United States of America. In fact, visuals and details that you're seeing first right here on NewsX. But let's get in further perspective on this story from Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan, who's also joining us now this morning. Geeta, we were seeing the authorities there in Kansas holding that press conference, saying that an investigation is currently underway into this incident that has shocked the Indian-American community there, of course, in the U.S., and also, led the External Affairs Minister back home here, Sushma Swaraj, to react.
Absolutely. The External Affairs Minister is now looking into the matter herself, speaking with the mission, seeking details of what is happening. 2 officers have been sent to Kansas City, and this is a joint operation, joint investigation now, so to say, with the Olathe Police authorities looking into the case itself, and the FBI now taking control, taking charge on the investigations to do with the fact and ascertain details of whether if this was indeed a hate crime or not. Very disturbing news coming in from the United States of America this morning, with 1 Indian killed and another injured, out of the hospital, out of danger, but nonetheless completely scarred for these families, for the wife who has lost her husband, and the Indian mission there in touch with the authorities.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you there. Geeta. We're absolutely out of time, but thank you for joining us with all those details on that story. I have to take a quick